Yes, we do. We have to stop the evil fireworks.
Did you get that message that I don't think they heard any of that?
What's that?
What you just played. It didn't go out on the air.
That isn't what I saw.
That's what I got messaged.
From
that they could only hear us giggling about it, but they couldn't hear what we were listening to.
It's not running. Stop laughing.
Oh, wow.
Well, I wonder if there's something. Oh, I don't know. Well, we'll just have to deal with it. Anyways, we're live. We're going to be live for the next 2 hours out here at Mountain Hooth. And if my phone would stop blowing up, it would be awesome.
They didn't hear any of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we all got to hear it. It was funny. So.
It was.
So we had a technical
That's
difficulty.
why we were giggling. Oh, shoot.
It was well worth hearing,
Well,
too.
you have a lot of material that unfortunately is probably not going to get out there today.
Possibly. I'll work on it while you guys go. Yeah, so I'll work on it real quick. I'm going to turn my mic down and I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
So what you played was
Gender inequality.
Gender inequality.
Gender inequality.
If I can get this up and running on my end, I will play it again. Yeah,
Okay.
because it was worth hearing.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Is that cowboy guy who sits in his car and does YouTube videos? That was him.
Yeah.
That was what he did, which, he made so many good points.
Yes.
And so it's,
We are both blessed by each gender.
yeah, by our differences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how we complement each other.
Yep. I
And you know what? We end up having children because of it.
How about that?
Isn't that something else, huh?
Something else.
Yeah.
And it takes a father and a mother to raise that child.
Yes.
It doesn't
to
take
do
a
it
village?
Right, to take
No,
it
it
right.
doesn't take a village.
Yes.
It takes a mother and a father.
That's right. And every now and then, you get a family that can do a pretty sensational job. But most of us are just trial and error.
Struggling through it.
Yes. You know what I mean? But I think
Okay, now who's that?
the Bible definitely is the guide to use.
Apparently, it's comedy hour out here.
I don't know where that came from.
I did a real important show with Lou Benninger yesterday. And you guys are like, not
Apparently
that quality.
You're only good for one show a weekend.
Thanks.
You're just going to have to choose who you love the best.
Blame it on me.
That's okay.
And
I'm
you didn't even
scrambling.
get fired.
I'm glad Lou got the benefit of it this weekend
Yes.
because you know what? He's so worth it.
He was wound up, and with good reason.
So, what was he wound up about?
Well, what else?
Oh, wait.
That's
the
not me.
grand jury report.
Chris Starkey says, tell Randy it only takes a village to raise an idiot.
No, that
What's he
is
trying
the
to
village
say?
idiot.
Yes, it takes a village to raise the village idiot. But it takes only a mother and a father to raise a child. Oh, man.
I love spammers. Good Lord.
Come on, guys. There's a vibrate mode.
Hey,
Yes.
you don't hear my phone going off. It's on vibration.
Oh, Chris Starkey followed up with, I was raised by a village. That's a good one. Oh, my.
So I want to, I believe, I didn't listen, but I heard through the grapevine that Lou might have talked a little bit about the grand jury report.
He talked a lot about it, and what we found out today coming back in to the show, because Jason had to leave right after the show. He had this barbecue party thing planned for a while, and then he got roped in to do, not roped in, he really actually was honored to do it for Lou,
Yes.
not a problem.
Yes.
So he spent his morning doing that, and then he had to rush back home. So he didn't get the file sent out. So we came in today expecting we'd get the file and send it out, and lo and behold, we can't find the file. There doesn't seem to be any recordings at all from Saturday. So we're hoping that we're going to figure that out and get that, because people really need to be able to go back to the One Eye Blind Media channel on YouTube and listen.
So we had some kind of technical problem.
Yeah, the live stream was working yesterday, which was awesome because I listened to the live stream. So at least that's working. And the live stream's working today, but the recording may not have happened unless we're just not adept enough to find it.
Okay.
So we'll,
Anyway, that's you know, a lot about our problems, huh? Right?
we got a lot of problems
Yeah,
here. It's always
problems.
exciting. You never know what you're going to find when you come out here.
Yeah, but it's hopefully getting worked out. But
I can hear it on the radio, so that's a good sign. Hopefully, hopefully you can hear it on the live stream. So anyway, we were talking about this grand jury report that isn't a
that's
report.
Sutter County.
The
County.
report that wasn't.
Yes. For those of you listening across the nation, because we are widespread, Sutter County grand jury, 18 jurors, grand jurors spent a year of their lives. And it's not just a once-a-month meeting or anything. These people are in it. They're going to several meetings a week. They devote a lot of their time and life for a whole year into investigations and looking at physical problems with the county, buildings, parks, you know, what's wrong here, what's wrong there. And there was initially 166 or 167 pages of a grand jury report. But for some reason, the judge that impaneled them, who was a family court judge,
Sarah Heckman?
Sarah Heckman, was replaced by Brian Aronson, who's a Supreme Court judge.
And that question has been asked and not answered yet is why did that happen?
Yeah.
Why did that occur?
Oh, a lot
I mean,
of
that's
questions,
a
yeah.
simple question. They could at least answer that.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, we're all curious. Why did they replace that judge?
So, anyway, the judge told him, Aronson told him to rewrite that. And so they pared it down to 137 pages. Now, of the 137 pages, they issued that to the Board of Supervisors in Sutter County and the department heads.
Can I ask a question here?
Sure.
Being as I'm not real savvy about all this, but isn't the grand jury supposed to be the watchdog for the people? Aren't they supposed to be trying to keep an eye on the sovereign citizens?
Yes.
That you know, those that are in office that seem to be trying to live above the law.
Yes. Yes. Even that.
Yes.
Their wingspan is widespread. They could,
So their position is to be of interposition for the people, right? They're interposing for the people in an investigative way.
Are you talking about the grand jury's position?
Yes.
Yeah, and what they're the citizens only method of that checks and balances where you have the county leadership running amok, and then they're in this position to investigate and see, okay, where are the issues, what's going on, and apparently they're okay to have a grand jury if they don't find anything bad or that puts them in a bad light or potentially is even criminal. If they find anything, then, well, there can't be a report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's what's got me a little mystified, you know, because if they're doing their job and doing an investigation for the people on behalf of the people to keep everything on the up and up, then why was their grand jury report told to be sized down? Because that's what you were saying, Bill.
yeah, it got sized down, but that's
Is it because
there's more of the story.
the attention span was
Well,
Well, apparently
Not
they
able
thought
to
we
read a
can't handle
longer
the
book?
truth.
yeah.
You can't handle the truth?
or it was we can't handle the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
they don't want us to know the truth.
Yes.
Right.
So we're getting into some meat and potatoes
Yes.
now.
Yes. So, anyway, the 137 pages that the department heads and the board of supervisors received, there was some of them strangely blank. Just a few, like
Right.
5, 6, and 7, and then pages 120,
No.
26 through
Yeah.
125.
Yeah, I think it was.
100
Something like that.
pages.
Yeah.
They were blank too?
Yeah,
Well, that sounds like the whole thing was pretty much blank.
yeah. Just you know,
These-
it's good starter paper for
Could it
your,
be-
for your fireplace.
Copy machine error,
Oh
you
yeah,
think?
yeah. I think so. That's probably what it was.
So, wow, where is
So-
this going? I mean,
Well, you know, we don't know where it's going because when Judge Aronson is questioned about it, he just replies no comment.
Yeah.
And the cover-up is always worse than the crime.
So where do you go when you have a cover up happening at your highest levels of authority in your county? Where do you go?
I would go to the Attorney General of California, but unfortunately, I don't really think much of the Attorney General of California.
you know, I was pondering
American
this.
exceptionalism, folks. You know, that's when we shoot off fireworks on the 4th of July.
Can you
I
guys
think
hear
it's
that
special.
out there?
It's gotta be stopped.
Is that being
In his opinion,
broadcast?
it's the-
I hear something about the 4th of July.
I know. I'm asking if the others can hear that, since maybe he's got it fixed.
Okay. So, on my way over, because I've been hearing a little bit of talk about this grand jury report that is.
Yes, they could hear it. You fixed it. Okay.
Okay. So, I'm
Go ahead,
hearing a
Tom.
lot of.
Go
I
ahead,
feel
Tom.
like I'm in a spaceship.
A very rickety one.
I got told we sound
Yes,
like a bunch of
rickety.
teenagers with all of our messaging notifications.
Yes.
Yeah, that's getting a little.
Don't include me.
Facebook's for old people.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Well-
Tom.
So, I was thinking about this grand jury report, okay? And how would the people actually get to the heart of the matter?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're supposed to have got right out of the gate, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not seeming to appear. So, and from what I understand, that the entire grand jury resigned. Did you hear that rumor?
Yes. All at once.
Yeah.
Okay. This
Right
is just
here.
rumor. I don't think I've heard it or seen it printed anywhere. Have you?
No. I have also, Bill and I have been informed, or another rumor, that apparently the appeal was presented with,
An explanation of why they resigned.
and that's not been
But that's
published.
not been brought forth either. So if any of you grand jurors out there are listening, you know, I'm sure if you would report the reason why you resigned to Lou Benninger or John Mistler of the Territorial Dispatch, you will get your expression out there and heard.
Inquiring minds want to
And
know.
here's the
More
thing.
than
We,
that.
the people, we're going to stand behind our grand jury.
Yes.
We're here to stand behind you, protect you, defend you, do whatever we can, because this can't happen.
No.
We cannot have this situation happening and not do anything about it. So we as citizens need to be showing up at every Board of Supervisors meeting, which is every Tuesday at 3 p.m.?
Well, it's every other Tuesday now.
They moved it to every other Tuesday?
Yeah, because in Yuba County, one Tuesday it's the Yuba County Water Agency because they got their pretty green hats on that looks like water. And the other Tuesdays it's the Board of Supervisors, and you can tell.
But what about, it's Yuba City that we want to,
Well, it's,
or
yeah,
Sutter
Sutter
County.
County is Board of Supervisors, and I believe it's
Last
this
I
coming
checked,
Tuesday.
it was every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And, okay, so I could be.
No, that's
Could be
old because they're meeting in the morning now, right?
No, they're meeting. The Yuba County's meeting in the morning. Sutter County's meeting at 3 in the
Oh,
afternoon.
okay.
But yeah, there's been now some people are saying that because it was a civil grand jury, and they discovered some criminal matters, that it must go to the DA.
Oh, well, that doesn't help us.
That presents a big
How convenient.
problem because the majority of those missing pages
had to do
we've
with
heard
DA.
allegedly were in regards to the DA in the office. So
Anyway, I want to share the rest of my thoughts as I was driving out here and I was contemplating the grand jury situation. So I thought to myself, maybe the people can convene another grand jury, right? And then, I mean, the grand jury can be convened by the people, I think.
The problem is there.
And then they could subpoena the grand jury that resigned and compel them to testify about what this whole matter is all about.
Well, the new grand jury that was just impaneled maybe could do that.
Oh, they've already impaneled
They've
a
already
new grand
impaneled
jury.
the new, yes.
but we wouldn't know for a year, and then it might be quashed too.
Well, yeah.
So,
Okay, so I'm on the Board of Supervisors website right now, and it says the Sutter County Board of Supervisors will hold meetings of the board on Tuesdays at 3 p.m., unless otherwise noted. So right now, that's the current information they're putting out on their website, that their meetings occur every Tuesday, because it says on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. So what we need to do as citizens is we need to be showing up at those meetings. I work, and I work in Sacramento. It's a little hard to get home by 3 p.m. to show up at a county meeting, but whoever can needs to be showing up at these meetings, and every single meeting we need to be using our public comment opportunities and asking for that report and demanding, where is the report? We know there's a report. We need to see the report, the original unredacted 166-page report. Where's the report?
Isn't that supposed to be public record?
Yes.
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 If you
So
go to
why
the-
is
if-
it not?
If
That's
you go
what I
to
want
the-
to know.
If
Why
you go
is
to the
it
court
not?
docket, Sutter
Okay.
County Courts.org, I believe it is, it shows that there is no report issued this year. That's the statement. I'm also on the calendar for the Board of Supervisors. They meet on the 10th and again on the 24th.
That must be what they call unless otherwise noted. So they've apparently otherwise noted.
No, it's every second and fourth Tuesday.
Now, I know that we're living in 2018 and a lot of people's attention span is very short. But I'm from the old school. I could still read a 167-page grand jury report in an afternoon.
Yeah.
So, unless they want to put it on YouTube for us, for those that can't dig into it like that.
You have an audio book.
Yeah, or make an audio book. Yeah. But yes, I do believe that we should have that opportunity
So
to see what the people that are there as watchdogs had to say.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear what the watchdogs had to say.
Right.
And is there anything wrong with that?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No.
Like Jason says all the time, if it's government and it's secret, it's bad. There's something wrong with that.
Jason hasn't been saying much of anything here in the last 5 minutes or so.
No, my mic's up though,
Oh, okay.
so I'm back up there. I'm ready to go.
Blank pages in a grand jury report is bad news.
Yes.
What was on those pages that are now blank?
Well, that seems to be standard operating procedure throughout all of government right now. I believe they're saying the same thing on the national news level, where they're compelling testimony and paperwork and they're getting they're getting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then when they are getting it, I mean everything's redacted except for the date.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, they've been getting away with it for so long
Yes.
now, it just becomes the norm.
Yeah.
And it's pretty sad.
So,
Well, if they get away with this one, look, this is how it's going to go down. If they get away with this one, what is to stop them? I mean, it's setting a precedence. So anytime anything bad comes out on a grand jury report that implicates our illustrious staff at the city or the county or the Board of Supervisors or anybody who is elected,
we're department heads.
it's going to be redacted and just move along. There's nothing to see here. People need to get mad. They need to be fed up, and they need to demand to see that report, period.
Yes.
And, like Lou said yesterday, somebody said, well, there's lies in it. You know what? That's up for the public to decide whether it's a lie or not.
Yeah.
And, let's see the damn report. Get it out there. We want to see it. Everybody wants to see it. This is BS.
Hey.
Where do our elected officials think they have the right to stop the people from seeing this thing?
And they're going to protect us from lies?
Yeah.
We're bombarded with lies every day.
From them.
Yeah.
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 And it's a lie because they say it is.
All right. We're gonna
Trust
go to,
us.
We're
Yeah.
going to go to a break really quick and pay a bill real quick. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Yuba County Sheriff Steve Durfer. I fully endorse Captain Brandon Barnes to be your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and chief of investigations and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff 2018.
All right, so we are back, and hopefully with no technical difficulties from this point on. So we've got another 3/4 of the show to do with no technical difficulties.
Yes.
I can go
So-
stress-free now for a little bit.
So we heard this gender inequality.
Uh-huh.
I like that.
Do you like it?
Yeah. I think the guy was right on the money.
Yep.
I like being a girl.
Hey, I want to read this little part of the Bible. Okay,
All right.
talks about a good woman. Okay, and this is in Proverbs 31. It says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruits of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that the merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates. When he sitteth among the elders of the land, she maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates." Wow. That's a fine woman described right there, right?
Her name's Tammy.
Oh, just you beat me to it. I was gonna say, honey, did you hear that?
Yes.
Yep, that's the way I see it.
I could only strive to be a Yeah. Can only strive.
I like it where it says her candle doesn't go out at night.
Yep.
Okay. In other words, she's busy about taking care of things.
Yep.
And my wife is she's 1,000% on it like that.
Yep.
Okay. So it's blessed to be having a wife, and she'll say it's blessed to be having a husband.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pro family, the standard American God-given family, right? It's been
Right.
happening worldwide forever.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
anyway, I want to put in my plug
they
for
call
the
marriage.
virtuous woman. Yes, the traditional family.
Yes, and the virtuous woman, I can only strive to be that, but I also don't take my husband for granted. You know, I can see a lot of women that I've interacted with not really appreciate their role, their traditional role, and in some cases even go so far as to be offended by certain traditional roles. And to me, I embrace it. I appreciate it. I love being taken care of. And I appreciate that my husband is willing to provide and to take care of the family. And I'll be happy to do my part and happy to support him in his part.
I think
It works.
It works. It works beautifully, right?
It works beautifully.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can't beat it. It's ordained by God, you know, the Creator.
That's right.
And if you follow His program, you're going to be happy.
True harmony.
True harmony. I like that, Randy. Another thing I learned along the way, and, you know, we got a lot of us guys have hard heads, okay? But I learned this, and it's in the Bible. I can't remember where right now, but it says, "Husbands, love your wives." And it doesn't say if she does this or if she does that. It just says, "Husbands, love your wives."
Doesn't it say, as Jesus loved the church?
As Jesus loved the church. That's right.
Yes, it's very
Epistles, yeah.
profound.
Yes.
That's a profound amount of love,
Yes.
which I have.
So
Oh yeah, because I'm going to get into that right now. Once
when
all's
you
done-
practice that, it works.
That's also why we can take on the world and have no problem doing it.
Yes.
I have everything I need. Doesn't matter what you throw at me. I'm good.
You know, it says here also that the Proverbs woman, she will see something. She'll work and she'll earn some money, and she'll see a piece of land that she wants to buy, and she'll buy it. Right? It didn't say she asked her husband to buy it. He just says she bought it. Okay? And then, you know, she's busy. She's engaged in the community, and she's progressing. So,
Right.
you know, it's a beautiful description.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
American exceptionalism, folks. You know, that's when we shoot off fireworks on the 4th of July and think we're special. It's got to be stopped. In his opinion, it's the...
Well, there's a fire marshal in Yuba City
It must stop. You stop having so much fun.
that does believe that the fireworks must stop. I have a $1,000 ticket to prove it. And I got to tell this story because the guy shows up at my house, and we're in the backyard. It's just me and Tammy, very low key this year.
Sitting around our fire pit. It was so nice.
Yeah. And,
Enjoying all the aerial fireworks of our neighbors.
Exactly.
They were beautiful.
and that's
entertaining.
and that's what I'm getting to is our neighbors. We had the best fireworks show in my neighborhood that you have seen anywhere.
Oh, our neighbors had it going on.
All of them.
They're awesome.
Wait a minute. You're not crippled, or you're
Nobody's house
no
burned
house
down.
burnt down. You all
Nobody's got
survived.
nobody's arm blew off.
Nope. Nobody lost an eye.
You all still have running water.
Everybody's got their fingers still. All of them, all 10.
The sky did not fall.
The sun
Put it
came
that way.
up the next morning.
So check it out. So I'll tell this story. The guy's name is Jesse. He's the lowest paid fireman there is in the city. So that's why he was out trying to drum up some business, I guess, and do overtime.
Yep. Needed that overtime.
Needed that money. But that's okay. I can't fault the guy. At least he has a job. If you can call it a job, I guess it's more like a way to get income. But
No fun
whatever.
for you.
So the little Nazi comes up to my house and he goes, "You're getting a ticket." And I met him out. He didn't even knock on the door because I went out front because I saw the flashy lights in the trees. So I went out front and he goes, "You're getting a ticket." And I guess the first words out of my mouth were, "No, I'm not." And he goes,
So you agreed with him?
I'm like, "No, I'm not. That ain't happening, dude." And he goes, "Yes, you are." And he got really mad. How dare I judge his authority, And he says, "You're Jason Reichert and running for city council, aren't you?" Oh. And I said, "Maybe."
Yep, I was told to come to your house and give you a ticket.
So what was awesome, though, is he got really offended when I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, "You're a peon, dude. I mean, I don't need to know who you are. All you do is suck off the tit of the tax roll. I'm sorry, but that's what you do." So he goes, "You're getting a ticket." And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said it again. That was the second time. And he says, "Come out to my truck." So I'm like, "Okay, whatever. Let's take a walk." So now let me back up. Earlier in the day, some friends were over at our house. I was doing work around the house. So I put on this crappy well, it wasn't even a t-shirt. It was a Tommy Bahama shredded shirt that I wore it one too many times, right? It had holes in it and everything. So I put it on, and Tammy got really upset. She's going, "Really, you're going to wear that? Don't go in the front yard. I don't care if you wear it around the house in the backyard cleaning up, but don't go in the front yard."
Yeah, please don't go in the front yard.
Life is good. Everything's good. Come the end of the day, I've been swimming off and on, and so I had on this holy button-up shirt. And I had one button. The rest of it's hanging, just open, and it's ripped up. So no big deal. So I'm out front and I'm getting the ticket that I wasn't going to get. He wrote it. So he comes, she comes out, and I said, "We're getting a ticket," and she knew how much the fine was, and she looked at me and she goes, "Huh, I asked you not to wear the shirt in the front yard." You should have seen this guy's face. I mean, he just went totally berserk.
Ruined his day.
That we're getting $1,000 ticket, and she could care less about a ticket that's $1,000. Oh well.
I couldn't see his face. He wouldn't look at me, because he knows who I am. We used to work together.
It's the $20 you should have spent on a shirt.
Well, Tommy Bahama shirts. They're
a little bit more than 20.
A little bit more than $20. But the fact is
that why you just won't let him go?
That's why I just won't let him go.
Hey, I'm with you, Jason.
You spend $200
Get some
on a
mileage
shirt.
out of that,
Exactly.
baby.
You spend $200 on a shirt, you're going to wear that thing.
Yeah.
And so I wear them to their
It's not worn out yet, is it?
No, I got one more use out of it.
Yeah.
Now it's my fireworks shirt. So I went back
Save
in the
it till
house.
next year, huh?
After he left, my neighbor's a fireman, right? My neighbor is a fireman. And I said, he come pulling up. He goes, "Will you talk to this idiot real quick and find out what his problem is?" And he walks up and he snapped at him too, like that brotherly love of firemen. Yeah, whatever. Not with this guy. He knows he's the lowest paid guy on the team, so he's like mad at everybody.
Yeah.
So it was really, really funny. So he leaves. Everything's good. And I'm back there and I'm like, "Man, that really sucks. $1,000. Whatever." And then I got to thinking about it. You know what? While I was standing there, my neighbors were still getting to launch and do everything. And if I've got to take one for the team, I'll take it every year, guys. Come on. Sit right in front of my house and wait for me to launch one so I can enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And I'll launch one at the end, and then you can write me the ticket. I'll take the ticket every year. Come on and sit right at my house, sit on me. And you already threatened to do it with my fireman neighbor. He said, "You're going to be there next year? Great. You sit there and waste all your time. And I'll burn up all that revenue that you could have made busting other people. Sit on my house, buddy. I welcome it. Bring it."
From what I understand, talking to some people that live near there was a plenty good fireworks show.
It was the best fireworks show we've seen in years. I loved it. And like I say, if not a lot of people got tickets and I got one of the few that are out there, I'm honored to pay it. You know what? I'll take one for the team. It's only $1,000. I'll take it for the team. Done deal. Tammy's a little upset because she ain't going to get a new Prada purse this week. There's always next week. So, just it is what it is, guys.
I've been in a Michael Kors mood lately.
That's true. So that's a couple purses, but whatever. Anyways, regardless, you know what the fact is.
Although I had my eye on a Kate Spade, and that's gone.
Okay, well, So the fact is it's going to hurt for
I
a
heard
week.
she's gone too.
Whenever I have to
know.
go down and lay that cash out on the counter, it's going to be like, man, I can't do as many burnouts this week in the vet because I can't afford the tires this week. So, anyways, whatever. You know what? Like I say, bring it next year. Set on my house. I welcome it. I'll take the ticket to keep my neighbors out of Hawk. That's awesome.
Hey, you know what? When I was a kid, and we spent 5 years in Hawaii growing up. My dad was in the Navy, and you've never. I don't know if you have, but I've never experienced a fireworks show like we had in Hawaii. It was unbelievable.
I'll tell you what. Down at my house, it was nice. It was. I was impressed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had firecrackers going off continually from dark to dawn.
That's awesome.
The whole, and when we and we're kids, when we woke up in the morning, and went out on the street, the whole street was red from firecracker paper. I mean, it was amazing. Boy, they celebrated Independence
awesome.
Day there in Hawaii. let me
That's
tell
it.
you.
Well, and that's what I'm hoping this Jesse guy, I'm hoping he got a little self-satisfaction out of it and, got some good feeling out of it that he had to work and be away from his family, because that's what's important on
Yeah.
Independence Day and the holidays, is being out there earning that dollar, being away from your family to make a buck. Good job. And suck it out of the taxpayers. That's awesome.
That's okay. I was with my family, and I
Exactly.
was very happy to pay your $1,000 little fine because I enjoyed the show.
Exactly. And that's where I'm at is, what, bring it. I don't really care. And the fact is, guys, is, what, liberty is not free. It's not.
No.
No,
And I'm going to live my life with liberty, period. So is what it is.
Yes.
And then I had that. I wished he would have came into my backyard. He wouldn't come in the backyard to see what I had going on.
Could have made him a burger.
But the fact is, I got my ice chest back there. This will not comply. I'm sure he would have liked that. And I just want to make sure he understands, be a good little Nazi.
Well, you could.
But remember, the Nuremberg trials, they didn't care that you were just doing your job, buddy. So
Yeah.
remember that.
yeah, the people are getting kind of tired of it. We're tired of all the little fascists in City Hall.
And one day you'll have to stand before your maker and explain what you did. So have at it, because I'm sure he loves liberty too.
Explain how those 2 palm trees moved to your neighbor's yard.
I know. I moved. The reason I got the ticket was there was 2 big palm trees that he said were in my yard. Well, I would walk him over to see the palm trees are not in my yard, and it wasn't like I could move them overnight. So, we're going to talk in court before. I'm going to go down and pay it, but I'm going to also pursue it a little bit because it is worth pursuing.
Just for fun.
It'll give me something to do in my free time. And not only that, but it'll stir it up from him, I think.
Well, they got to expect it. I mean, I don't care what it is. It's regulation, and it needs to stop.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is you have all these stupid people out on the streets with their no more fascists, no more whatever it is. And they're yelling at the wrong people. They're calling Donald Trump a fascist. I don't think they know what the word means.
No.
Is here Donald Trump he's got it to where, because it was when he took office, it was every new regulation you have to take away 2, right? I think
Yes.
it's now to like 4.
Yeah.
Every time
Good.
they pass something new, they've been taken away like 4.
Yeah.
One of
So-
our listeners just said that I need to pay my penalty, my fine, with pennies. Just a dump truck load of pennies. I should bring home that dump truck for the weekend from my job site and take pennies down there.
Yeah, that might be fun.
Oh, wow.
But hey, what is a fascist? I mean, there's several descriptions when you look up fascism.
Yeah.
But
it's pretty much like, okay, you could have things, but we're going to regulate the heck out of what you do with those things.
yes, so that
And you can only have certain things.
Yeah, we're going to tell
the
you what
ones
kind
we-
of things,
The ones we
how
tell
many,
you can have. Yeah.
when you can use them, and and we're going to tax you if you use them in the wrong way. We're going to penalize you if you don't follow all of our rules.
And another good way to look at fascism, and we see this with the city of Yuba City, is when you mix. Here's how I look at it anyway, from the research I've done on it. It's when a government entity and a private entity are working hand in hand, similar to PG&E. Okay, now PG&E basically has become an entity of the state, in my opinion, because
they and the PUC are best buddies.
yes,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying there. So the state can regulate PG&E exactly, what they want them to do, as far as that, like say for instance, CARB, okay, the California Air Resources Board, which makes PG&E get a whole new fleet of trucks, and then PG&E can come before the state and say, well, we need rate increases because we got to get a new fleet of trucks. Okay, so there's a perfect example of fascism.
Well, and another example of it is exactly what happened to Kumar and the 16-ounce beer fiasco.
That's a fascism program too.
I can own my store. I can sell what I want out of my store as long as I let the government regulate and tax what's in my store. So they can regulate what I sell, what I move in the store, and they get tax off of my store. And as long as I comply with what they want, then I can have my store.
Yes.
But so at that point, if you can't sell what you want and you have to pay an extortion fee, is it really your store? At what point is it still not your store and it becomes the government store that you just work at?
And how about hotels? Now, don't they all, in hotels in every city, the city is getting part of their action,
Exactly.
right?
And that's where, let's call it what it really is. They call it fascism.
Yes.
But it's extortion.
Yes, it's extortion, but it is, you can put it under the blanket of fascism.
Exactly.
For sure.
So when did you guys start hating on the children?
Why do you hate the children?
Well, it's not that we hate on the children. I don't even hate the children. But it's the fact that everybody thinks the children need saving. I'm going to play this clip really quick before we go to break from this little kid that I found. And he doesn't like fascism either. He doesn't like, and he kind of a little upset with his mom here in this clip. So let me play this really quick. You guys are gonna like this. It's pretty good. So.
Mom thinks I'm a baby, so I can't walk to school sometimes, and also she thinks I need protective gear when I need to ride a bike.
You probably do. I think I agree with your mom.
I know how to ride a bike already, even without protective gear.
The kid gets it.
The kid gets it. He's
The
like,
kid's
look.
like 5 years old and he gets it.
He's like, I don't got to be protected all the time. I can take care of myself. So you know what?
That kid's going to end up on the radio.
Yes, he is.
You know what? That kid's parents are probably Democrats, but he's a Republican and he doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he's definitely a little Republican
That's
coming up. he was mad.
He's old school Republican. He's not like the Republican fascists that we have today.
I wish it was TV, because if you could see him, he wasn't happy, man. He was getting interviewed, and he was like pulling the mic from the lady, and then he's looking at his mom while he's talking to her. He's like, look at that. No, leave me alone. It was awesome.
I know how to ride a bike already.
Little kids get it.
Yeah, they do. And they're not shy of telling the truth.
No.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to take us out with another clip here real quick. I just called it Stupid Self. But this will take us out. We'll take this out with us real quick. and we are back. So
That was great.
Well, let's move that forward. Huh?
let's move it forward.
Let's move the process forward.
Well, and there's one that he missed is we could redact it. But once we get it all done, then we can redact it and say it never happened.
Yes.
So.
Once they finally get some action moving, redact it all.
And if that isn't the great waste, I don't know what is, but that's what we have.
But-
And you know what's amazing is even in Sutter County, we're a small little place. I mean, it's not like we're Sacramento. It's not like we're Oakland. It's not like we're a big metropolis city. We're Sutter County, man. Come on. Really?
Yeah,
but there's a pretty good size of us here.
There are.
Yeah.
But you know what? The problem is they can't get away with it as easy because there's too many here that are self-reliant, that are Republicans, that are just
Plugged in.
Yep. And just I think they have a lot harder time. I think it'd be a lot easier down south, where maybe they should just get up and move down south and run for office down there. That'd be awesome.
That'd be
Have
great.
at it.
well, we're not going to put it up with it anymore. And people, we're here to stand behind you or wherever you need us to be. We're there to support the process. no, but here's what we need to do.
I can't believe you said that, Tammy.
Look,
I thought it was
if
funny.
you want to get that grand jury report out there, just drop it off at any one of our houses, and we'll give it to. Bill could give it to Tom. Tom could give it to me. I could give it to Randy. Randy could give it to Lou. I mean, we can pass it around
Well,
8 or
Lou's
9
offered
times.
to
we could
drop
all-
it off on his front porch.
Yeah.
We could all read it, and then we would have to go to a re-education camp.
We might have to. But here's the thing, people. Do you not understand that these folks are elected? So if they're elected and they want to redact that grand jury report, well, then they can be recalled.
Yes.
They redact, we recall. How's that?
Yeah.
Recall these people.
I like it.
And I mean, that's the whole thing is right now it's very, very dangerous ground you're on because you need to not let this happen because the fact is if it happens now, it's going to set a precedence.
Right.
And that's all it's doing right now is it's going to set a precedence that we can do this and get away with it. We did it once before.
Now, isn't that how they have totally wiped out our Bill of Rights
Exactly.
by using precedent?
They haven't
Well,
wiped out any Bill of Rights in this room.
No, not in this room.
And I
But-
can tell you something else, though. It's like my little kid. To put it in simpler terms, it's like my little kid whenever I tell him to don't get any more soda out of the fridge. You've had enough for today. And he goes and sneaks one. And I know he snuck it, and I let it happen. Guess what? It's going to happen again and again and again. I don't want the argument. I don't want the fight. But the fact is I let it happen once. It's going to happen again. I'm going to face the fight, but the fact is it's going to be a bigger fight with him if I let it keep happening than if I squelch it right now and it's done. Then it's done. It's the same thing with this government, with this local government. If you squelch it right now, it's going to be much easier than it is down the road. It's only going to get harder to get this, what we need to get done.
It's already hard, though, because it's been going on for so long.
Well, nothing
You
worth
know?
doing has ever been easy.
No.
And you know that.
I hear you.
You know that.
I'm not arguing that it's not worth it.
I wasn't saying that to you.
yeah.
I was saying that to the crowd out there because
Yeah.
I know you know this.
Yeah.
You own your own business. You know what it's about.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things, folks, that if you don't do it now, it's only going to get harder.
Now, I heard that we're going to eat some good hamburgers later.
Yes,
Okay.
we are.
And they're going to be pastrami burgers. Is
Yes.
that correct?
And you know what I did?
And we had to go over the details.
Well, you know what I did now is I've got on. I'm a Uber special guest. So now if people come to my house and have a drink, since I feel like I've been targeted, I just call Uber. They send about 4 cars over, load everybody up in them, and they take them home, and I'll pay for it. My buddies are not going to get a DUI.
The cost
from my
of
house.
being a political activist.
But what? back to the hamburgers.
Yes.
Okay. So
That's
Screw Uber.
the pastrami burgers. These are going to be fantastic burgers. Okay.
Yes, they are.
Well,
Mass-
they are now because you
mass
made us go
amount
through
of-
the details.
Huh?
We went through the details. Now that we've gotten through
Right.
the details, they're going to be awesome burgers.
Yes. And mass amount of calories. Well, I'm just wondering, isn't there some kind of regulation that we should not be consuming that many calories?
Well, I'm sure there are.
Isn't there a fascist program like that?
Well, there is, and it's called your insurance company. So what we're doing is that's why you're bringing the chilies. I'm bringing the burgers and cheese. Bill's going to buy the pastrami. We got to all buy a certain portion of it, then we'll pile it all together.
I'll bring the fireworks.
There you go. It's okay, I know a 2 palm tree yard you can launch them from. Oh, unbelievable. You know, if nothing else, we sure are having a lot of fun.
Hey, you know what? I heard that there's a letter out there that each one of those grand jurors received.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine?
Tell us about the content of that letter. That is allegedly have been allegedly
it was sent out by Gene Jordan,
who is the Sutter County Counsel.
Sutter County Counsel. And pages 5, 6, and 7.
Of the report.
Yes.
Yes, pages 5, 6, and 7 of the report sent out a letter to the grand jury telling them, threatening them, that if they published this report, that they would be sued individually, each one of them, and that the county...
By pages 25 through...
Oh, yes.
26 through 105.
Yeah, pages 26 through 105 would personally sue them for the content of that published report, and that the county would not defend them, and they would be on their own. The county would not stand. But you know what? We're going to stand behind them. We're here. We're not going away. This issue is not going away. We will see the report. You will give us the report. It's going to be public. And guess what? You're going to be recalled.
This is still a mystery to me. There's a lot of mystery in this this whole deal.
There's a lot of mystery to everybody. Yeah. Whenever you can't see it, and I tell you guys, I told Lou the same thing yesterday when I was running here, when I was doing this board for his show and running in here. You know, my dad always said, if it's in government, it's secret, it ain't good. There's no two ways about it. If it was good, isn't government always looking for that pat on the back?
Yeah.
So if it was good, you know darn good and well they'd have it out there and showing it in everybody's face. Look at what we did. Look at what we did. Look at what we did. If they're trying to push it under the rug, it's not good, and the people need to see it.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Long and short, done.
Yeah. So I want to see it.
I do too. And I think everybody has a right to see it.
I want to be sheriff, but I'd rather see the damn grand jury report.
Oh, speaking about that, we got a sheriff to get elected. And, I mean, that's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. And it sounds like just quite possibly that the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans and the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight, that's us. That's us 5 right here. That's us.
That's us.
Maybe going to have a campaign headquarters. It's a possibility. We've kicked around the idea. We've got some sponsors, quite possibly, that we might get to do this. And we're going to get to hold our own forums. So, yeah, it's not going to be I was going to say the Territorial Dispatch. I'm sorry, that's an outstanding newspaper, but it's not going to be the rag that we got, the Appeal Democrat and the Chamber of Commerce throwing these lob softballs like we were hitting yesterday.
Yes. Boring me to
most
tears,
of us were hitting them
man.
yesterday.
I'm telling you, I was bored to tears when I went to their forums.
Yeah. These are going to be right down. I mean, you let me pitch, and I'll show you how to pitch. You drill the first guy who walks up, and you walk him. The rest of them won't even get in the batter's box.
Oh, you hit him 4 times with the baseball.
Yeah, you hit him right in the side of that baseball, and the other ones won't even come in the batter box. They're like, oh man, that's
They'll
kind of hard.
forfeit the game and you won.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
so walk one guy.
Speaking of that, I think Tammy's got something to talk about on August 25th?
August 25th, we're going to do another one-day seminar. So our last seminar was focused on the sheriffs and talking about the constitutional role of the sheriff, and it was geared toward our sheriff candidates. This next seminar is going to be a condensed version of the U.S. Constitution course that we do over 12 weeks. We've condensed it all and brought out some highlights so that in a basically a 6-hour span of time, we're going to convey the basics so you get an idea of what's in the U.S. Constitution that you're going to be taking an oath to protect and defend. Well, we're going to be offering that up to all of the current candidates.
All current candidates. It doesn't make any difference what you're a candidate for, and we know that you may not be listening to this radio show, but you have friends that are listening to this radio show, so we extend that opportunity to every candidate running for office in Sutter and Yuba County.
Well, and I think we're going to put out a ad in the Territorial Dispatch, letting them know about it, and go ahead and pull that out there to where I want to see their face whenever they have no excuse and say, "Oh, well, I didn't know about it."
Well, this
BS.
Yeah.
You're going to know about it one way or another.
Now-
Because not only that, I think we're going to send them personal invitations.
Yes,
are we not?
we will.
And this is not the be-all, end-all for the candidate for his constitutional studies.
Absolutely not.
You know, you still need to get involved and learn what your Constitution says.
Yep. But the fact is, you got to show up to the showdown.
That's right.
I am going to quote who said that. I said it enough. Everybody knows who said it. But the fact is, you got to show up to the showdown. And if you don't show up to the showdown, the Yuba Sutter political spotlight, I promise, is not going to back you. Period. We're done. If you're not willing to show up to a constitutional class, dead in the water. So, you
Hey,
know,
that reminds me of that song by ELO, Electric Light Orchestra.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna be a showdown. Remember that song?
I'll get it. So, yeah, that's what we got. And you know what's really awesome is we actually had one of the candidates contact us. We know Mark Boomgarden's going. The other candidate we haven't met with yet,
David Shaw or Dave
David
Shaw.
Shaw. David Shaw actually contacted the Spotlight, said he would like to go, and got in touch with us. So we're actually going to sit down. He wanted to meet with all of us. So we're going to sit down with him in the next week or so. I got the date
This
on my
week.
phone.
Yeah.
Oh, this week.
This week.
So we'll all be, the five of us will sit down with David Shaw and talk to him. And so it's pretty interesting that they're contacting us now. So, you know, we got a lot of people out there saying we're not making a difference. I tend to disagree. I've got a $1,000 fine that says I am. And I've also got, you know, a lot of people sending me tissues and things like that, saying that I'm going to be crying about the sheriff race, which I'm absolutely not. So it's interesting that they're not listening, but they seem to know exactly what we're saying. I guess it's osmosis.
I am so happy to pay that $1,000 fine. That just validated the fact that I am being effective.
Yeah.
Right there, validation. I am being effective.
You know,
so
you're-
I am so okay with it.
You know we're getting our money's worth for the radio show.
We are
So-
so getting our money's worth.
A little bit of retaliatory.
And there's the other
That's
thing,
what you
people.
think, huh?
We pay to be on the radio, and you think a $1,000 fine is going to make a tinker's difference for us?
Well, first of
Bring it.
all,
Bring it. It's only
you're
money will
innocent
make more.
until proven guilty. So I mean, there
Yes.
has to be some evidence.
Well, there's no evidence because the trees aren't even in my backyard.
Well, yeah.
we'll
They're in the neighbor's yard.
we'll get to that. I mean,
What are
we're
the trees?
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
lost
They're
here.
palm trees. They said, well, you have 2 palm trees in your backyard.
I
No.
thought you got the tickets for fireworks.
I
They
did.
did.
Then what do the trees have to do with
They saw them by the
They
trees.
saw them by the trees.
So they deduced this
fireworks
guy.
They
by the
deduced.
trees.
This guy, the head detective, and the fire marshal Bill are all in one compass deal, and he
Hey, it's Fire Marshal Jesse.
Jesse.
Did you ask
Just
if they
leave
had
me
video?
out of this.
No,
thing.
he figured it out. He's a good detective. He's actually probably going to be bidding for a detective job because obviously he'll take the lowest paying detective job there is, and then he could kind of make what everybody else is making in the city.
Well, because he'll need to do overtime.
So that's probably one step down below animal control.
I would imagine so. But whatever.
We're just guessing here.
Did he not quite
Allegedly.
make it at the fire academy? He just couldn't quite cut the mustard
Couldn't quite hack it.
at the fire academy. So now he has to be the lowest paid person on the payroll over at the fire department.
And he doesn't even get to ride on the red truck. He has to drive his own little red truck around.
And it's an old red truck. He doesn't even get that Yukon that our DA gets to ride around, a $100,000 Yukon.
Oh, well.
Well, she went to school for more than a week.
No.
Anyway,
My goodness, they're selling a Yukon for $100,000 nowadays.
Well, now that it's all outfitted with all its bells and whistles,
Oh,
you betcha.
yeah.
allegedly it is.
But that's our opinion.
All right, so moving on. We love you, Jesse. We really do, buddy. You made our week.
Yeah, it's good times.
Anyways, about the burgers tonight. Yes, we are going to have some good burgers tonight. I just thought of that.
Yes.
That is going to be awesome.
Where were we going? I'm so lost.
Is that boogers with 2 O's or you are?
I I don't know which one is the one you pick. All right.
So I see on your screen, Bill, you got Drain the Swamp.
Drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp.
Oh, that
Yes.
sounds like the Sutter gutter to me.
Ooh,
Yes.
that is a Sutter gutter. What happened? How'd I get in there?
So
If you're not in the Sutter gutter, you're not in the know. You got to be in the know.
You guys are getting brutal. I like it. That's one of our expert people. We're a little brutal.
I can't get into the Sutter gutter. I don't have a dog in that fight.
No, you can't.
Oh.
You live in Yuba County. Hey, speaking about that, I got to see my buddy Andy Vasquez yesterday. He didn't have much to say.
No?
Darn. You'd think he'd, I heard him say Saturday on the radio that he cannot mislead the public. I think that's almost an exact quote.
Really?
So
Well,
I
he
must
must have
not be
said-
the public because he
must have-
misled me.
He must have said allegedly he can't mislead the public. Oh,
Or in his opinion.
yeah.
Oh, it might have been in his
my opinion,
opinion.
I've never misled the public.
or
By the way, people, if you ever want to
moving
talk,
forward.
if you ever want to talk to the Yuba County Council, you can't because she only replies to the department heads and the board of supervisors. Public can't talk to her. And you'd think Eddie would know that before he told me to go down there to the public, to the county council, and ask her.
Hey, last week we were talking about Independence Day,
Yes, we were.
and we were going over the 27 grievances,
Yes.
right, in the Declaration of Independence. Did we bring were we going to talk about that again?
We were, but then there's always just so much new material that comes up throughout the week that we get.
Yes.
We
Well,
got too many other things to talk about.
I wanted to at least bring up the that one spot in there where they said they were building. The way I interpret it, or remember it, I should say, is they were building buildings,
No, offices.
offices.
And
Okay.
offices as in
Positions.
positions. Okay. that's
Creating
it.
positions.
Positions, yeah, committees.
Okay, but as that goes forward, they're also building buildings to
Right,
house these
right,
officers, right?
Yeah.
And they're
And
eating out our substance.
Eating out our
Eating out our
substance. Yes, that's the point I wanted to.
He has
pound home.
erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance.
Okay,
The fire
so,
marshal.
And
Could you say that again? Could you? Because it sounds to me like erected offices sounds like
He
building
has,
buildings.
yes,
Building
he has
buildings, yes.
erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance.
Wow, and that is from
Those people-
before 1776.
those
Yep.
people
Yes.
had a way with words, didn't they?
See?
Yes.
Wow.
That's why I didn't let that fire marshal in my backyard. Because he would have ate some of my tri-tip. I'd rather pay the fine than share my food.
Well, he ate about $1,000 your substance.
Hey, but you know what? I'd rather pay him because those tri-tips got to marinate for 3 days.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
They are a critical critter.
So,
And they got to rest after you barbecue.
exactly. I mean, there's a lot of time involved. Whenever I go to barbecue something, I do it right, okay? And there's a lot of time involved there. And my time is much more worth than that fine in a day. So, there you go.
Hey, I want you to repeat that one more time, please, Tammy.
Okay. From the Declaration of Independence, this is among the grievances. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass the people and eat out their substance.
Okay. Thank you very much for repeating that 3 times. The multitude or swarms of officers to eat out our substance. Now, that I believe I see that happening today. Okay. Agency after agency after agency after agency. Okay. that reminds me of a video I listened to by Francis Schaeffer Cox, who's now a political prisoner. And he said, "What is an agency?" And anyway, if anybody gets the time, please take a look on, I think you can go to YouTube or you can go to Google, type in Francis Schaeffer Cox. A young man from Alaska. Father's a preacher. Grandfather's a preacher. And he was a political activist and running for office, and now they got him in prison. Okay? They framed him. But it's one of the greatest speeches you're ever going to listen to. And this is him speaking to a crowd of people in Montana. He talks about how they're going to eat out our substance. He also talks about how the whole system is going to self-destruct. And we're on that path right now to self-destruction. That's what I believe. I believe it. I see it.
The signs are everywhere.
Yeah, the signs are everywhere. So
Now
we getting the finger from Jason.
One more minute.
Yeah.
it's not the offensive thing.
One more minute.
Yes.
American exceptionalism, folks. You know, that's when we shoot off fireworks on the 4th of July and think we're special. It's got to be stopped. In his opinion, it's the...
It's got to be stopped. All this mayhem, constant mayhem.
Have no stinking fireworks.
We won't stand for it, by golly.
No.
Well,
No fun for you.
just for me, they were sending out all kinds of warnings in our water bill. I mean, they use the water bill now for all their
Propaganda.
Fear
Yes.
tactics and intimidation.
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm having to shred a lot more paper just to get to my bill.
Well, I'm
than
telling
the
you
water
what.
bill.
Well, you know what
It
I
did
found?
not work on our neighborhood. Those fear tactics and intimidation had absolutely zero
Hey.
effect on our neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So
Go
you know
neighbors.
why? They're probably not getting their water like the rest of us. You guys are probably got your own pipe coming from the river.
All right. Well, you know, have you guys been around town?
Yes.
Have you seen
Oh,
all the jobs?
Oh, all the help
wanted-
wanted signs?
Have you seen all that?
Yeah.
Do you wonder why they're not being filled?
Here you go.
Listen to this.
This is Yuba County Sheriff Steve Durfer. I fully endorse Captain Brandon Barnes to be your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and chief of investigations and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff 2018.
Everybody knows.
Yes, they do. It's no secret.
We just want it official.
Do you think there's a meter up in those second floor offices?
I heard there was.
Because
Yeah.
I
on
would be
2nd Street.
probably shocked and amazed at the number that would appear on that meter.
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
If it's over 10 years old, it may not go that high.
All right.
So,
I'm
hey,
going to
let's
quote
talk-
lunch.
Let's land this plane.
Let's
right
talk
now.
about Brandon Barnes and Dennis Houck for sheriff.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
Jeff Pierce. Is he going to endorse Brandon Barnes? That's the question.
I don't know.
I hear that
He barely lost to Brandon Barnes. I mean to
Houck.
Houck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He was just narrowly.
I'm really sad. I'm really sad to see that. But you know what? The fact is not those people who are voting for Pierce, like you two guys,
Yes.
are you going to vote for Houck?
I
no.
don't think so.
You don't think so, huh?
Yeah. No, that's a confirmed no for
Okay.
me.
What's that say?
Yeah.
Barnes for sheriff?
Yes.
That's right. That's
Yes.
my hat.
So,
I like Brandon Barnes. You know, even when the primary was going on, I liked Jeff Pierce a little better.
well, it was
He's
like,
more in my age group. I think that has something to do with
well,
it
and
too.
that's what we talked about a lot was, you liked him for your age group and how he fit with you guys. And like that day that he was out here, he had a lot more in common with you and Bill than he did with I.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Brandon Barnes when he's out here. He had a lot more in common with me and Tammy than he did with you and Bill.
Yes.
And it's just, I think it's an age group thing. I think either one of them would have been a fine sheriff.
And Randy, you're
I
just
think
in the
he
middle.
just called us old, Tom.
I don't have a dog in that.
I was feeling that, Bill. Yeah. Bill said you just called us old.
Yeah, you guys are old. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. So
You're over 45, you're old.
yes.
Your time's coming, buddy.
Yeah.
I know, I turned 45 this year, so I'll be right there with you.
But I do believe Brandon Barnes will do the job of the sheriff. Hopefully, I'm hoping that he will dig into his Constitution more
Yes.
and,
And we're
do some research.
We're hoping to hear from Jeff publicly. And
That he,
also
if he's going to endorse him. I'm sure he will. So,
Burt Manuel for endorsing
Mike Zickermeyer.
Mike Zickermeyer.
yes. Yes.
I don't want
Well,
another entrenched politician in Sutter County.
Right.
But we're still waiting to hear from Travis Allen, too, aren't we?
Oh,
Yeah. We can't
Crickets.
really get to
he
him.
went away quickly, didn't he?
oh no.
Well, he
he's-
hasn't really gone away.
He's created a pact to take
Yeah.
back California, but I think it's more in line to pay his bills that he's in debt for.
Apparently, that is called half our audience old.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
Hey,
kind of offended. I'm a
that's
year
right.
older than
Tom and I are looking out for you guys. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Whoops.
But this radio show here is the fountain of youth.
Yes, it is. Do you guys look forward to Sunday or what?
Yes.
Because I do.
Yes.
I darn sure do.
Yeah.
And yesterday, not being
keeps-
able to talk whenever I was in here with Lou's show,
I was wondering
was
about
beating
that.
my head against the wall. I'm in here going, yeah! You know what, though, is just a shout out to, I listen to Lou's show. I know we all listen to Lou's show. And Lou does a darn fine job.
He's my radio hero. That's what I call him.
But check it out. Lou expects a lot from his board op. To get what Santos gets done in a week took me, Tammy, and Bill, and me sending stuff to Bill to edit it and get it cut up, and then me coming back to me to put it all together, and then Tammy helping with the emails back and forth. Took three of us to do Santos's job for what he does for Lou Benninger. So I'll tell you, for what Lou does is awesome, and we hear him and he sounds really good and everything, but he doesn't take any shortcuts with his board op either. And I'll tell you what, Santos does a knockout job for this community to do what he does out here and get it done.
That's why they call him the Wiki Man.
Yes.
That's right.
Right?
I'll tell you what, the guy is something else. I got a new respect for him. I mean, I had respect for him, but I've got a newfound respect for that man to do what he does in a week, every week, week in and week out for Lou.
Well, I always loved the guy because he's got a great disposition and very knowledgeable about history, the Constitution. So he's a pretty savvy guy. And his wife grew some tomatoes once, and he gave me some.
Well, and you know what? There guys like that are far and few between because the guy is all heart.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is.
he's-
Everything he
He's
does.
servant-hearted.
And Wiki, we can't find Lou's recording from yesterday, so
Well, you're gonna have to come down here and check it out,
you
dude.
mosey on down when you get back from Texas.
But no, we appreciate Lou Benninger, but a lot of that has to go to, also to
To the Wiki
Santos.
Man.
Yep, to the Wiki Man, because He does a bang-up job. Like I say, it took 3 of us to field that while he was gone for a while.
Let's give a shout out to One Eye Blind Media too.
Yes,
Chris Starkey,
he does a
yeah.
lot also. He really does help us out here.
Now,
Make sure our stuff gets replayed. Like just now, whenever we were having a radio air issue, he was texting in right away. He's listening live. You know, I mean, he keeps us in line and makes sure that we're, you know, keeping it on cue. Also live, and then does our radio show for free, uploads it and everything else. So, yeah, he does us a heck of a job. And I'll tell you what, if there's that many people running for city council, he could fix up your Facebook page, a lot of your political pages. He could fix them up and make them look really, really good. And he's dying to do it for some politicians to get his name out there and do some work for you. He does a lot for us for free because he knows we're coming out of pocket. He knows, you know, Lou Benninger's coming out of pocket, so he does a lot of stuff for free. So he's not making it from us. So you guys that are getting donations from us, from these other places, use the local guys. Use him. You know, I mean, keep that money local. We're giving it to you guys to run for office, so you guys need to keep that money local. Don't go out to these big people out of town. Use our local guys. And use, you know, One Eye Blind Media. Get them to fix up your web pages and stuff. I'm telling you.
Do a commercial for you. Do a commercial on your Facebook page.
Do some stuff. Get you some new logoing out there, some new branding.
I'm all about that. Buying local.
Yep.
Yeah.
And whenever I ran my campaign, both times we kept everything local. Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but you know what? It's not your money you're operating on. You're operating on other people's money who believe in you. And I'm sure that their belief in you would like you to believe that you're keeping it local.
Yeah.
And putting that money right back into this community.
I like to, you know, buy my carpet, say from Glines Carpet. Okay.
We just did.
Because you just did. Great. Because I see Mike Glines at the baseball game.
Yep.
You know, the Little League games. You know, and I like to get my truck serviced at Gibiki Ford because I see Scott, who runs the fleet department, out and about, or I see Alan. You know, I just like that way better.
Well,
and like I was up in Medford, Oregon. You know, I go up there and visit my father-in-law sometimes, and it's a town like that too. And you see a lot of local small business advertising and stuff like that when you're up there.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
And then, you know, that I grew up in Gridley. I loved Bremer's Hardware in Gridley. You went in there, everybody knew your name. They had more stuff than you could ever possibly shake a fist at. And they're still there, but they used to have one here in Yuba City.
Yeah.
They don't anymore.
Best. Yeah.
And, you know, you went in there, you got what you needed, and sure, you paid a few pennies more for it than you paid at Home Depot. But whenever you go into Home Depot and you ask the kid for what he's looking for, he can't even think to get on his smartphone to look it up to see what you need. He
They
just
can't even tie
kind
their
of
shoes.
wanders off.
Right.
And as he's holding up his pants.
They walk around with their shoes, literally their boots untied.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said for the small mom and pop shops.
I
There
remember
really are.
going to Bremer's Hardware also, and Schneider's in Marysville. I don't know if you remember
Snyder
that.
Shoes.
Okay, you were probably just a little pup by then, Jason.
If I was even alive, but
yeah.
okay.
But hey, man, we got some nice threads over there, didn't we?
Nice. Over at Bremer's, I used to go in and buy low-cut Converse black tennis shoes. They were
And you know,
$14
that's-
would like to kill me, but
Yeah.
And buy a shotgun at the fire station.
Larry's for guys and gals.
yeah.
That was another one that was around Yuba City.
But I mean, and that was the nice thing. You walked in, you knew the owner, you knew everybody there, they knew you. And if you got out of line in their store, you got a smack in the back of the head. And before you got home, you got an ass whooping from the neighbor. Then you went home, and then you got an ass whooping from your dad. And you didn't smart off in the store anymore. And you sure didn't have your pants around your ankles walking around in the store. You know? I mean, you just didn't
That
happen.
was unheard of.
You know?
Yes.
I rode, this is no joke. I rode my bike out in front of a car one time. The lady jumped out, slapped me around a little bit. She says, "You go straight home." I got 3 ass whoopings on the way home from other neighbors and stuff as the phone call went through town, apparently. And then whenever I got home, my mom goes, "You wait until your dad gets home." I lived in fear for about 3 hours, going, wow, this has been a bad day.
Yeah.
You know? So
But you didn't ride out in front of
Beginning-
traffic anymore, did you?
Beginning of your criminal career, huh?
exactly.
You were one of those free range kids?
Yes, I was. I was a free range kid.
Hey.
But check it out. I feared that more than I'd fear any fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what, it's just one of those things that stuck, man. You didn't want
Give
to.
him many ideas.
Well,
No.
you didn't want to disappoint. And you know the worst thing my dad ever said to me? He says, "I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed."
Yeah.
Cool. Want to talk about a crusher? You felt like you could dangle your legs off a cigarette wrapper. You know, you're just that big.
You probably spent more money than that fine on the fireworks, did you?
Well,
No, I
usually
didn't
we
have any
do, but not
fireworks.
this year. Yeah, this year I told him, I said, you know what? We're targets. Let's just lay low. We'll just keep it cool.
So
Hey,
Not this year.
Then what did you get the fine for?
Well, it's
took one
apparently
for the
it's for
neighbors.
all the years
He took
past.
it for the team, Randy. Took it
took
for the team.
Took
but
it
we're
for the
not
team.
done.
It's okay.
We're not done.
So
we're
you're,
good.
you're like the captain of the team.
He's team
I
captain.
like it.
Yeah.
So,
Took one for the team.
There you
because
go.
the whole neighborhood was blowing up.
yeah, it was awesome. It was the best fireworks show ever. We went back in the backyard and still just enjoyed it. It was good night.
So, Brandon Barnes.
Yes.
Why should the people vote for Brandon Barnes for sheriff?
First reason is he went to a Constitution class. He went to, that's one reason.
That's huge.
The next one is he went to every forum, didn't miss a one, and I'm sorry, but just flat owned the forums, every one he went to, regardless of how long they were, who was putting it on, anything else. Walked away from every forum just shining.
He was prepared
He was prepared
every time.
and he
prepared.
showed up every time, and he never got up and ran out on one.
Yeah, he's man enough to take questions. Huh?
Yeah, he didn't sucker punch somebody and then run out. He never once cried about being bullied. He never once. I mean, did you ever hear the guy whine about anything?
He has a no. I didn't hear him.
He's not
Do
a
no-
whiner.
he didn't do no whining.
No.
He does. He did have a program
Yep.
that he had already lined out, mapped out, put together.
The Barnes' plan of action.
Yes. Okay. I like that too. I like a guy that is thought it through. Okay. It's just like a builder. I mean, you gotta have a plan, and you gotta look at your plan before you start the building. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Well, that's the first thing I got to do is go through all the planning, right? Whenever
Yeah.
I go to build something.
Right.
Because I'm not a
Straight-
sheetrocker. I can't just go in and hang the sheetrock, throw it around the building, and start hanging it. I got to have a plan of how I'm going to get everybody in and how they're going to go in and how the building's
Yes.
going to get built and where the structural issues are and then, offload.
And you got to straighten the architect and the engineer out on a few things usually.
And the building department. Let's not forget
yes.
about the building department there, honey.
Yes.
What?
Tammy works in the building department, by the way. So, yeah.
All I do is I review your plans to make sure you are going to end up with a quality product. Whatever the scope of your project is, boy, it's going to be quality.
And that's one thing that irritated me for many, many years. We're getting off the beaten path, but I want to say this real quick. Is I see the work she does at the cities, because she's worked at cities, here, Yuba City and down there. And it really irritates me because every time I go in, they must give me the most derelict person there is there for the biggest project. And, I got to fight with him and argue with him and everything. And then she comes home and I see how she does hers and runs her office and runs her ship for getting plans out and getting things done. And I'm going, wow, why don't they have her doing this and showing the rest of the staff this rather than throwing up roadblocks?
It could hurt the other staff's feelings,
Hey, that's true. I guess that could
Right.
be it.
Now,
We
that's
got
a
to think
big
about their
issue.
feelings.
right?
We got to think about their feelings.
Yes.
My new neighbors that just moved up here from San Diego said it takes 12 to 18 months to get a building permit down there to do something, to have an add-on.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. Okay,
So, Brandon
back
Barnes.
back to Brandon Barnes. He handled himself very well. His demeanor is, I felt like he had a nice demeanor. He's approachable. You can talk to the man. And I believe that you should be able to approach and talk to your sheriff.
Yes.
Okay. His, I didn't feel like he was a big time enforcer type.
No.
You know what I mean? So their job is a servant of the people. And I felt like you could get that from Brandon Barnes.
Anybody who draws a check from a city or a county is a servant of the people. They forget that, but they are a servant of the people. And it would do them well to remember that,
Yes.
is what I think.
Well,
But
the people have to remind them, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
We see that all the time with the building department, you know?
And the best way not to remind them is not to say, no, I'm not getting a ticket. they get really upset. They get a little bit. Respect my authority.
Well, yeah. We have too much of that authoritarian garbage going on.
And I don't see that happening. And, I believe Brandon would be a leader, as he's shown. He's ran the jail. He's ran the detectives. It isn't that he's been a detective. He's ran the detectives. It isn't that he's worked in the jail. He's ran the jail. Everything he's done it from a manager's perspective, from a line staff inspector perspective, all the way through a manager perspective.
He's got the qualifications to do it. He was willing to come to a Constitution class, and I hope that he would further his education in that respect.
Yes.
Okay. And so if he's listening, I say, stay busy.
Yeah.
Keep pushing.
Stay vigilant.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to have a problem with the numbers, the way the numbers came in. I doubt he's got any problem. And even if a quarter of the, and I don't see that happening, but even if just a quarter of Jeff's supporters went for Brandon, I don't see that happening. Now, if Houck would have came in third, it could have went either way because Houck's people would have went one or the other, and you don't know what they would have which one it was.
That's true. This is a good outcome that we have here.
Because they
Even
would have
though-
went, the Houck supporters would have went whatever way the wind was blowing that day.
Yeah. I remember at the last forum that we had, and Barnes was there, and he said, well, and this was before the election. It was kind of the last hurrah. Remember that?
Yep,
We had a little ice cream social there.
Yep.
And he said, well, I hope I win, before the, I hope I win it right here at the primary. And I said, well, I don't. I said, I want to see you work it all the way to the end, man.
I was calling him Sheriff Barnes at that point. I think I glitched it for him because I was like, hey, he said, those hats that Bill's wearing today. I said, man, you should have just put Sheriff Barnes on them. Get it out of the way.
That's right. But my feelings were that'll make him a better sheriff, too.
Yeah, it will.
If he's got to run the long road.
Yeah, that's true. It'll give you an idea of his wherewithal.
Yeah. And so I would encourage any public servant, but especially Captain Barnes, to spend some time and dig into that Constitution.
Definitely. I totally agree. I think they have to.
And go up and get acquainted with DeAugustini up there.
Yeah.
In El Dorado County. There's a good constitutional sheriff.
Yes, it is.
So
there's one other thing that I wanted to throw out there today, too, is that in addition to the Constitution courses that I do, I wanted to introduce something new. And that is, because I'm in between courses right now, I would like to do like a book study, like over a 6-week period, and it's specific to talking about the Christians' biblical role in civil politics, or their civic duty as Christians, as stated in the Bible. There's biblical sources that say, Christians, you need to be involved in politics. And I think where we've gone so awry is because they're not involved in politics.
I agree with that.
Even in that little passage I read about the Proverbs 31 woman, it said her husband is recognized in the gates. And whenever it's talking about in the gates there in the Bible, it's referring to the court system.
Yeah.
And the justice system.
So I've selected 3 books that they're very short reads that I would like to read and discuss in a group setting, like have a group discussion of these books. And I don't know in what order we'll take them on, but I was thinking maybe giving people enough time to acquire the books and get the word out. And we'll start maybe, I'll do the Wednesday night thing because that seems to work well for me. But Wednesday, August 1st would be a good time to start. We could do 6 weeks. It'll end before I'm going into my next U.S. Constitution course. But the books I've selected are, one is called The Role of Pastors and Christians in Civil Government by David Barton. I have another book that's called Watchmen on the Walls, and it's pastors equipping Christians for their civil duties. Then I have another book called The Threat of Islam to Liberty and Christianity by Stephen McDowell. So I would like to have these books, have everybody acquire these books. We'll read them one at a time, and we'll have group discussion.
And you're putting out an invitation to the general public here, right now.
Public,
yes.
Yeah, right here, right now. We'll get a meeting room, depending on the size of the group that wants to assemble, to read these books and to work through them. And
put out the first book that you want to.
Well, that's what, I don't know what order would be the best to tackle them. Maybe we'll go ahead and start with the role of pastors and Christians in civil government, possibly. But yeah,
okay,
it's all good material. Either that or this Watchman on the Walls.
Let's start with Watchman on the Wall.
Are we going to get those through you, Tammy, or do we need to order them ourselves?
What I'll do is maybe we'll start posting it on social media and sending out emails and give you the sources. But the IOTC, Institute on the Constitution, they have a website called AmericanView.com.
The American View.
Thank you. TheAmericanView.com website. You can acquire each of these, and the role of pastors and Christians. I've only, for right now, for some reason, I only see it in a cluster of books, which is fine because if you buy the cluster of books, we're going to reference those in the class that's coming up on August 25th. But
they're all good reads anyway, right?
They're all good reads anyway. You can't go wrong with the material that you can get from theamericanview.com. So that'll give people enough time to seek out, and we'll maybe put together some links of where you can get these.
In reality, our mainstream media and all their cohorts or helpers have sought to poison the mind of the American people and to dumb them down and to shift them here and move their mindset there, right? So we're seeing an upswing, moving back in the right direction.
Pendulum always swings.
Yes,
back, yeah.
And education. These books are great education in that area, and so we need to keep on pushing in that direction.
They poisoned the American mind because their minds had been poisoned by the socialists and fascists and communists that are teaching them.
Yes, that's fact, and the universities. And like that one clip we listened to, right? He said he was talking about the show with the 25 hookers, and what was that? I can't remember.
That was Bachelor, Bachelorette, or Bachelor, or whatever.
Turn it off. Read the book.
Yep, there you go, guys. Have a good week. We'll see you.
God bless everybody.
Next week.